You wake up on a Tuesday morning exactly like every other Tuesday. The alarm rings at 6:15. You make coffee. You feed the dog. You check the weather. Nothing feels different. Your neighbors leave for work. The school bus stops at the end of the street. A delivery truck blocks the intersection for a minute before driving away. To everyone around you, today is just another ordinary day, but there is something they don't know. You are worth $10 million. Not because you won the lottery, not because you sold a startup, not because you became famous. In fact, almost nobody knows your name outside your small town. The cashier at the grocery store has seen you every Saturday for 5 years. She still asks if you want paper or plastic. Your barber charges you $25. He has no idea he's cutting the hair of a millionaire. The waitress at your favorite diner knows exactly how you like your coffee. Black, no sugar, extra hot. She has no idea your investment account quietly earns more every month than most people make in a year, and that's exactly how you want it. Because somewhere along the way, you discovered something strange about money. The louder wealth becomes, the weaker it usually is. It started 11 years ago. Back then you weren't rich, you weren't even close. You worked as an operations supervisor at a warehouse outside Columbus, Ohio. 55 hours a week. Steel-toe boots, early mornings, late evenings. The paycheck wasn't terrible, but every month ended exactly the same way. Bills paid, a little left over, nothing changed. One Friday after work, while everyone else headed to the bar, you stayed behind to help an older maintenance technician repair a broken loading dock. His name was Walter. He was 68 years old, quiet, never complained, never rushed. While tightening a rusted bolt, he asked you a question that stayed in your head for years. What do you think happens if you stop showing up tomorrow? You laughed. I guess they replace me. Walter nodded. Exactly. Then he pointed toward the warehouse. This building makes money every hour. He tapped your shoulder. You only make money when you're standing inside it. That sentence followed you home. For weeks it wouldn't leave your mind. You started looking at every business differently. Not as a customer, as an owner, the gas station, the storage units, the laundromat, the vending machine near the hospital. Someone owned every one of them. Someone collected the money while sleeping. That idea changed everything. Instead of buying a newer truck after your annual bonus, you bought 3 used vending machines. Everyone thought it was ridiculous. Your brother laughed. Your co-workers called it a side hustle. Your father asked if you were throwing your savings away. The first location was a small auto repair shop. The owner agreed to let you install the machine if he received 10% of the sales. The first month, after snacks, drinks, fuel, and commissions, you made $143. Not impressive, not exciting, certainly not life-changing. But you weren't looking at the money. You were looking at the proof. For the first time in your life, money had arrived without asking your boss for permission. That feeling was worth more than the $143. You bought another machine, then another. Every weekend became inventory day. You learned which drinks sold fastest, which snacks expired, which locations were worth keeping. Within 3 years, those machines quietly covered your mortgage. You still went to work every morning. Nobody noticed anything different. Because nothing looked different, you still drove the same pickup, still packed your lunch, still wore work boots. The money wasn't changing your lifestyle, it was changing your options, and options are the real definition of wealth. The first million wasn't the hardest because of the money, it was the hardest because of the mindset. Most people believe wealth begins when your income grows. You discovered it begins when your expenses stop growing. The warehouse gave everyone the same raises, almost every year, and almost every year your co-workers celebrated the exact same way. Someone bought a new truck, someone upgraded to a bigger house, someone financed a luxury SUV, Someone started wearing watches that cost more than your first vending machine. Every raise disappeared before the next paycheck even arrived. You watched it happen over and over again. The strange part wasn't that they were spending more. It was that they genuinely believed they were becoming wealthier. You knew better now, because every dollar that left your pocket had one simple question attached to it. Will this make me look richer or become richer? The answers were almost never the same. 5 years after buying that first vending machine, you sold the entire route. Not because it failed, because it had taught you everything you know.
The proceeds became the down payment on something much larger. A self-storage facility, 112 units, a faded blue sign, cracked pavement, an owner who had managed the place the same way for 23 years. He was tired. You weren't buying perfection. You were buying potential. The bank almost rejected your loan. They didn't understand why someone with an ordinary warehouse job wanted to own storage units. You didn't try to sound impressive. You simply showed them numbers. Occupancy rates, cash flow, local demand, population growth. The math spoke louder than confidence ever could. 6 months later, occupancy climbed from 68% to 92%. You added online payments, security cameras, automatic gates. Nothing revolutionary. Just small improvements repeated consistently. Cash flow doubled. For the first time, your annual passive income became larger than your salary. Still, you didn't quit your job. That confused everyone. If you're making so much money, why are you still here? They thought the warehouse was your prison. They didn't realize it had become your insurance policy. A stable paycheck allowed every dollar from your businesses to buy more assets. Instead of changing your lifestyle, you changed your balance sheet. The storage facility bought a small mobile home park. The mobile home park bought a commercial warehouse. The warehouse bought dividend-paying index funds. The dividends bought more investments. The cycle became almost automatic. Money stopped being something you spent. It became something that quietly hired more workers on your behalf. Around year 8, something unexpected happened. Your investments began earning more in a single month than you had earned during your entire first year at the warehouse. That realization didn't happen during a celebration. It happened while buying groceries. You were comparing 2 brands of peanut butter. Your phone buzzed. A dividend notification appeared. You stared at the number for a moment. You smiled. Then you reached for the cheaper peanut butter anyway. Not because you had to. Because nothing about having more money made paying extra for the exact same product feel intelligent. People often imagine millionaires surrounded by luxury. Private jets, designer suits, oceanfront mansions. Reality looked different. Saturday mornings at Home Depot, fixing a broken fence, changing the oil in your pickup, walking your dog through the neighborhood where nobody knew your portfolio had quietly crossed 8 figures. That anonymity became priceless. Because success attracts attention. Attention attracts expectations. And expectations quietly become obligations. The fewer people knew, the freer you felt. Your neighbors invited you to barbecues. Nobody asked for investment advice. Nobody pitched business ideas. Nobody treated you differently. To them, you were simply the quiet guy at the end of the street who always waved first. And that was exactly the life you wanted. One afternoon, an old co-worker recognized you at a gas station. He looked surprised. "I figured you'd finally buy something nice." You looked down at your 12-year-old pickup. "It still works," he laughed. "You've always been cheap." Maybe. Or maybe you'd learned something most people never do. Every luxury has 2 prices. The one you pay today, and the one your future quietly pays tomorrow. You chose your future, every single time.